Hi guys, this is Camila and David Mauricio. Welcome back to our channel, Medellin Advisors. So today we're going to talk about new regulations for Colombian visa applications.
On July 22nd this year, the Colombian Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued new provisions for the processing of the visa for legal stay and residence. This changes has been contemplated for some time, and with the passing of the resolution, it's now in place and order here in Colombia. Make sure to stay to the end of the video, where we will give you our professional opinion on these changes and the conclusion of the topic. And we will also answer the question if it's still possible to get a resident visa by investing in property here in Colombia. Topic number 2, justifications for the visa changes. So Colombia during the last decades has achieved significant advances in security and economic growth. There's hundreds of thousands of foreigners or tourists who's flocking into the country every year, which was unheard of just some decades ago when the country was embroiled in bloody conflicts between left guerrilla groups and paramilitary gangs. Security in Colombia has gradually improved during the last decades with the help to achieve peace and to increase the quality of life of its citizens. At the same time, it has popped up authentic expat communities around Colombia in cities as Cartagena, Bogota, and obviously here in Medellin as well. And in addition to this, you have the humanitarian crisis in Venezuela, which has led to over 2 million refugees here in Colombia. With this in mind, it's not very strange that the government has felt the need to do some changes and update this with a visa, which we will now be talking more about.
So topic number 3, let's talk about new visa categories. So the new legal regulations maintain the same 3 categories of visas while adding different types to each category. So the 3 categories of visa is still visitor, migrant, and permanent resident. So with these changes, it goes from having 32 types of visas to 43 types. So some of the inclusions are permanent correspondent, promotion of internationalization, rent-a-style, Andean migrant stateless, digital nomad, resident by temporary protection status for Venezuelan migrants, and agricultural workers. So topic number 4, what happens with the real estate investor visa? The investor visa for the purchase of property is maintained and integrated with the category of migrants. So the minimum of investment is 350 legal minimum wages in force. So for 2022, this means 350 million Colombian pesos, approximate to 82,000 USD. This type of investment grants legal residency for a period of 1 to 3 years. Whether it is granted for 1, 2, or 3 years is entirely at the discretion of the Migración Colombia officer.
Investors in real estate used to have a second option, which was the 5 years resident visa, for an investment of at least 650 million Colombian pesos. However, the new regulations are eliminating this option, which means real estate investors only qualify for the migrant visa going forward. The migrant visa is renewable, and by holding the visa for 5 years, investors are going to be able to apply for the residency this way. We know some of you are disappointed by these new regulations, but at the end, you're going to be able to get the residency in Colombia. One key difference to note here is that real estate investors will need to renew the migrant visa several times during those 5 years. In order to be able to renew the migrant visa, you will need to show that you're still maintaining the investment property. So now Maurice is going to tell us a little bit more about the new digital nomad visa.
So the rumors has had it that Colombia was going to introduce a digital nomad visa even before the pandemic. And now, after passing the resolution, it will finally take effect. And the digital nomad visa would fall in under the V category, which is the visitor visa. And it will be applicable for teleworkers, digital nomads, freelancers, and remote workers. And important here is that you have to receive your salary outside of Colombian borders. And there's also 5 requirements which we'll go through right now. So of the 5 requirements, the first one is that you need to hold a valid passport, and you have to make sure that your country is accepted by the Colombian government. So there's a list, so make sure that you look up that. The second one is that you need a letter from the employee that tells you the relationship that you have with the company and the salary. The third one is that if you're an entrepreneur and you want to start a project here, you need to write a description about what you're going to do with the human and financial resources. And the fourth requirement is how much do you need to make in order to get accepted. And it is 3 times the minimum salary, which is this year is 1 million. So 3 times will be 3 million, and that is about 620 USD with today's rate. So yeah, make sure that you make more than 620 USD, and that will not be a problem. And the fifth requirement is the health insurance. So you need to make sure that you have that, and that is to prevent if you would have an accident, an illness, or need to visit the hospital, that you're fully taken care of. And you have to make sure that this insurance is valid during the whole period that you're staying. So during the 2 period that you will get accepted with this kind of visa. So now Camilla will provide with some good information what's important to have in mind when you apply for a visa here in Colombia.
Okay, so first you must have a valid passport or travel document in good condition and with free space for visas. Second, fill out the electronic visa application form on the website of the Colombian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Third, all documents are required, more than identity and travel documents, must have a date of issue no more than 3 months prior to the registration of the application. Fourth, all documents coming from abroad must have an apostille or legalization and an official translation into Spanish when it's not in Spanish. Fifth, if bank statements are required, they must be submitted without an apostille or legalization and an official translation into Spanish, if their content can be clearly established by the visa officer. Sixth, in case you need to provide judicial or criminal record from your country, make sure you apostille or legalize and translate it with an official translation into Spanish. And last but not least, make sure you have a medical insurance coverage in the country.
So to topic number 8, the Colombian visa categories. Here in Colombia we have 3 different types of categories, with the first one and the strongest one being the resident visa. The second one will be the migrant visa, and the third one is the visitor visa. So let's start to explain a little bit more which person could be suitable for which visa. So the first visa, the visitor one, the weakest one, is suitable for temporary stays, such as tourism, you're a student, you're here for medical treatment, like that, then you will get the visitor visa. And actually they might even just accept you or give you the visa valid for the time that during the event. So if you're here for exchange studies, then maybe you're here for 7 months, then they could give you the visa for up to 7 months, depends on the events that you have to prove with paperwork. And the second visa being the migrant visa, which you can be granted a stay up to 3 years here in Colombia. And the normal ones are spouse visa, permanent partner, refugee, migrant, or if you have a business. And if you invest in real estate, as we help with, you can also get the M visa. And the last visa being the resident visa, which is the wet dream for everybody here who's applying for visas. And that tends to give you a permanent residency here in Colombia, and it's valid for up to 5 years. And you can even work on this visa, except if you're a pensioner, then you can't. Those are the 3 visa categories. Now Camilla will go to the next topic,
which is what happens if the visa application is not approved. So the Visa and Immigration Authority will communicate through the foreigner's email the official decision regarding to the visa application, which can be either authorizing its issuance requiring more information, requiring the presence of the applicant, denying the visa, or rejecting the application. In case they require more documents, the applicant will have a period of 10 calendar days to submit this document. If the interest party does not respond within this period of time, the application will be considered abandoned. It should be noted that the Colombian state decides whether to approve or deny the application. Therefore, the approval is not mandatory, the money paid is not refunded in any case, and administrative appeals are not admitted. The official will keep the reasons of the denial reserved. So if the application is denied, the foreigner must leave the country within the next 30 days.
We have now come to the 10th point of the article, which is the conclusions with pros and cons.
So first, in recent years, Colombia has become a very popular destination for 1,000 of expats who find excellent opportunities to invest and to reside permanently or temporarily in the country. Second, the new provisions came into force in October 22nd of this year, in which new type of visas have been created into the three existing visa categories in order to facilitate foreigners wishing to settle and to invest legally in the country.
And thirdly, with eliminating of the second tier of the investment visa, which previously to the changes could give you a resident visa for 5 years, now it's downgraded to M visa migrant for 3 years. And now here we'll also take the opportunity to answer the question that we did in the beginning of the video. Is it still possible to get a residency with an investment in real estate here in Colombia? And the answer is yes, it's still possible. What is very important here is that how is this going to be done? So what you can do is that you get an M visa, you invest 350 times the minimum salary in real estate, which this year would be 350 millones. If you, for any reason, sell this property, then you need to make sure that the new investment in real estate has to be equal to the 350 times the minimum salary of that year, because it does change every year, so have that in mind. But if you keep the same property the whole time, then you can reapply after 3 years, you extend it, and after you have had a visa accumulated for 5 years, then you can apply for our visa, a resident visa. With this in mind, it's still possible, which is great news. Little changes though. And then the fourth pro that we want to bring up here in the video is obviously the digital nomad visa, which is now applicable. And yeah, if you're a digital nomad, entrepreneur, or working online, then don't hesitate to apply for this visa. It will be very beneficial. And we think that in real estate, especially on the rental side, there will be increase of demand of monthly rentals now when this visa is out. So yeah, if you have any more questions, please leave a comment or reach out to either me or Camila.
So that was it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Please let us know if you have any more questions about this topic. You can leave all the questions down below and we will be responding them as soon as possible. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on the notifications and like this video. We will see you in the next video. Bye bye.